Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have been recently watching the very successful TV show on Netflix Wednesday, which is based on the Addams Family and is directed by Tim Burton. So I think it was a very cool show and I want to build something out of Lego for it. So you might be wondering, what does Rey Skywalker and Harry Potter have anything to do? Well, there is no Wednesday minifigure, so I need to create one. So let's start with that and let's see how I create a Wednesday minifigure. So first, I create a skirt. Here we have two slope pieces. I used this technique before in some of my builds. And I need to add a top. So that's why we have Harry Potter, because I think we need some sort of school uniform. And I think this one from Hogwarts work out pretty well. So this is gonna be the top for our Wednesday. And then we need a face. I think this a little bit slightly angry face of Rey works very well. This one is more a smiling one. So I think this one a little bit angrier works well. Of course, I decided to use a minifigure with skin tones because I need to make sure that she's kind of pale. So I didn't want to use the yellow minifigure. And also I'm gonna take one end from Rey to build Ting. So that's a pretty straightforward build. Now we need a good hairpiece, so I'm gonna take my tribal woman minifigure over here. I think this hair works very well for this. Of course, we're gonna remove this part. And as you can see, then we have the two of these coming up at the front. And I think the Wednesday minifigure kind of work. Of course, it's not an official minifix, but it does the job. Now, what I'm gonna build today is another minifigure habitat, like this one that we have here. If you're not familiar with minifigure habitat and you want to know how they're built, I will link in the description below the video about my Sushi Chef habitat, where I will explain you how they're built. Anyway, you can follow along this build. It's a pretty straightforward build. So here I have my 8x8 base in black, and then I build up already a little bit of the floor. I didn't want to build everything in black, but at the same time I want to keep it dark, so I decided to go with this dark gray. I'm gonna start building up a wall, simple black wall here. I added a couple of slopes over here to create a little bit of gap, a broken up wall. I know the black is not very camera friendly, but I didn't have enough, for example, dark brown to build up this scene. So here we have a wall. On top I'm gonna build a sort of slope wall to make it sort of coming up. I'm building sort of a bedroom in the dorm. So in the show, you know, there is that very famous and colorful round window that would be more or less on this side. But of course it's very hard to recreate in Lego at this scale. Let's add a little bit of color. So here I'm gonna add a few brown bits and as well as dark red, just to break down a little bit the black. Anyway, later on we are gonna add some accessory at the front, so it's not gonna be too black. Over here I want to create a window. I cannot create that round one, but I'm gonna create like a window that is sitting behind their desk, but I want to make it a little bit more interesting. So I have this very nice fence piece. I added a little bit of detail on top, and here we're gonna place the window at the front. So I wanna create a very ornate window all the way to the top. So I'm using these two parts that I connected to a modified plate. This is gonna slide in a little bit diagonal and connect over here to a jumper. So here I have a bracket and I have a jumper, and I can add that detail. So from the inside we can see a very ornate window that is gonna go more or less here. Okay, so we can get some light in and a little bit of decoration on the wall, and now I can just fill up the rest of the habitat with a little bit more walls. And over here I also added an additional detail. So here I have a sticker that come, I think, from some brickheads, like Go Brick Me brickheads, something like that. So I decided to add that. Actually, here I realized there is a mistake. There shouldn't be a modified brick there, so I'm just gonna turn this around so we have a smooth surface. Okay, so more or less later we are gonna add our Wednesday minifigure here at the center, but before we do that, let's add a few details to the scene. Over here at the back I wanna build a lamp, so I'm gonna use one of these telescope kind of thing, add a couple of pieces on top, and then I'm gonna connect a brown top that I can regulate at an angle, and this is gonna be a sort of light. There are a couple of lights in the show, in the room, on her desk and on the side, and this is actually a sort of music corner. So one thing we need to add is a music stand. Again, I use this same piece with modified brick plate on top, and then a white tile, and here we can give a little bit of an angle, and we have a music stand. And then over there we are gonna add the cello. The cello is one of some of the most iconic scene in the show when she played the cello. So this is a build that I already used before in one of my builds. I can link it down below, my sort of music museum. It's just actually a few parts. I can break it down for you. Let's see if I can take this out. Okay, so basically here we have a bracket and a modified plate where I can give a little bit of angle later on. Here on top I'm gonna add this modified plate with two cheese lobes on the side and a tile on top in brown. So this is gonna be over here, creating the top part of the cello. And then I can connect this at the bottom. So this is the same modified plate with two cheese lobes. I'm gonna connect it instead of straight like this. I'm gonna connect it this way with the bracket. It's gonna connect here. And now we have the shape. The connection is not super solid, but it works good enough. And then on top, I'm gonna use this arm, connect here at the back, tilt it forward, and then I have a perfect cello, minifigure scale wise. So if we take a minifigure, you can see that more or less the scale work, and it also can stand by itself. So later we are just gonna add this over here, and this already breaking up a little bit all the black of the wall, even though I know that on camera cannot be seen super well. Now let's create the desk over there at the back. So I have a brown desk. I'm gonna add a couple of headlights to the side so I can create some sort of little drawers. Here I add a little piece of paper, and here we need to add a typewriter. I decided to build something in sand green, also as a little callback to the actual typewriter from LEGO. The LEGO Ideas set. So here I have a couple of brackets, a couple of modified plates, a piece of paper coming on top at an angle, and then we can slope it down at the front. So here we have our desk with typewriter. So this is gonna connect there to the studs, and this is working pretty well. As I said, here we're gonna add this. So we need to find a way to connect thing. So this one. So in order to make it stand, I decided to use this wand and connect it over here. This can work as a sort of, I don't know, it can be to play the cello, for example, or it could be a pen or a wand itself. And I think it's gonna be over here. I can put it on an angle, and this will help me to keep a thing standing upwards and not falling over. I mean, sometimes it will do, but it works quite okay. Then I need to add a chair for the desk, another simple build. I have a rounded plate with a hole. I'm gonna connect this on top in the middle. And here is the base of an antenna. I'm gonna create a sitting place. So I can already start to connect this to the jumper plate, to the jumper tile over there. And then another connection not so solid. Here I have two Harry Potter wands, still with the sprue, and this can actually connect inside the base of the antenna like that. It's not a super solid connection, but I think it works fairly well. So the only things that are not very solid is this chair and end. The rest is all pretty solid. Of course we can move this around, but it's not moving much because it's a pretty big base. Now the only thing we need to do is to add Wednesday. So let's take the minifigure, connect it here to the jumper plate, and now we have our minifigure habitat with Wednesday in the center in a room, and I think it works out pretty well. let's bring in again the couple of habitats that I was showing you earlier to see how a little bit how it looks all together. If you're not familiar with habitats, then we can just remove the slope, put them together, and then they can stack all on top of each other, creating a pyramid of all these different little scenes. And I have a playlist on my channel full of those habitats. Now, let me know what you think about this habitat, and also let me know your opinion about the TV show if you have watched it yet. Thank you for watching my video. Please consider to leave a comment, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it yet. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Ciao, ciao.